So I never know if you're watching because there's the delay of what I see. So you might get that first 12 seconds of me not paying attention. I don't know. Anyway, I had a lot of time tonight. I got relatively early start, so I got to like research and write. Look at this. I got two full pages. So I hope you're excited for that. Excited. Um, so the Building and Zoning Committee had their variance meeting tonight. I was sixth on the docket. I paid attention, watched it on YouTube virtually, me and two other people. One person got up and protested against something about sight lines, but basically, in the long and the short of it, Building and Zoning passed the variances on the construction of the new property at 1036 South Front Street. So that means I can sell the building now. Woo! I know that doesn't mean much to everybody, but believe me, after 18 months of wanting to sell a building and finally getting permission to do it, it's going to be nice to finally sell it. But what that means is that I am going to have garage sales. So you're hearing it first. I'm going to have to announce these things pretty fast. I thought even like the first one should be this Sunday. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I might announce it tomorrow and be like, hey, Sunday, starting at noon, come down. Wink, wink. Sunday, if you happen to come by, I might be there at noon because it'll be daylight and you can see things. So just saying, Sunday at noon at 1036 South Front Street, there might be me there willing to part with things if anybody came by with cash or cards. Just saying. Just saying. There's this. Heinz Verified. Day Tripping with Stephen He and me, the co-star / cameo guy. Watch them, make comments on them. I know I didn't do it again today. I got lazy. Sorry. I was hanging drywall and I went up and down stairs way too many times today. Way too many flights of stairs. But at least I didn't put in 16 hours like I did yesterday. The roof got done. I got the third floor done. The second floor is done. First floor has like 2 rooms to go and I can be done with this project, which is great. But then I have to find more work. So that's not great. You know, this catch-22. Anyway, today is got checked day. So it's about breast cancer awareness. So you're supposed to do that, ladies. Get checked. Make sure you've got the boobs are fine. Okay, so get those checked. It's Web Mistress Day. Now, yes, this just means women who are webmasters instead of like actor, which is gender neutral. Webmaster and webmistress are the same thing. It's just not gender neutral. So it's just women who monitor and run websites. Okay. So nothing more than that. Don't get some deep inner meaning about this. Cherry popsicle day. I didn't have a cherry popsicle. I didn't get to Stoney's Market today. I should have, but I really didn't get out of the house today. I made it to Lowe's one trip and I spent, ready for this one, a whopping $4.90. I know. I don't think I've ever gotten out of Lowe's that cheap. I would have spent another $3 on a bag of Fritos, but they didn't have Fritos. So I didn't get my snack. All I did was got a piece of corner bead for some drywall to finish a closet. That's it. That's all. I went in, got corner bead, left. It was amazing. I didn't even like browse. I was so proud of myself. It's Women's Equality Day. So yes, there's also stuff. I think there was something that was historical about that as well. And it's Dog Day, National Dog Day. I think it's for the dog day of summer, but it's actually for dogs. Because dogs. Who doesn't love dogs, you know? I don't really care what your name is. What's your dog's name? Tomorrow is Peach Day, National Peach Day. Summer is all sorts of peachy. It's Pâte de Crème Day. It looked like a dessert. I don't know. I didn't go into it because that's tomorrow. I didn't want to read ahead. And then it's Just Because Day, and I don't know what that is either because just because. So I don't know. Just because on Wednesday? Sure. Just because. All right. So long list of things, long list of birthdays, and then short list of dead people. But I'm going to dive into some of the ones because I had time to read them more than just, read off the list. So 1682, astronomer Edmund Halley discovers the namesake comet that we now know as Halley's Comet. There you go. See, that was a dude. We knew there was a guy named Halley. And again, he was an astronomer, so that makes pretty much sense. It's Halley's Comet. He's the one who discovered it. He gets to be named for it. Why not, right? 1895, the first power that is, it's the first time power is generated by electric generators from Niagara Falls. So the water moving over it, turns a turbine. The turbine then in turn makes electricity. And so it happened in 1895. Now again, this one's not as crazy, but in 1907, Houdini escaped from being chained in San Francisco, California, underwater after 57 seconds. Now, I don't know if he was in a box or whatever, but remember we talked about this before. He was in a box for like a long time, 20 minutes or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That just, I'm not claustrophobic, but man, I don't think I would dig that. I don't think I'd be in an enclosed space that long. That small anyway. It just seems claustrophobic. I mean, right? It just, I don't know. That's not me, man. Okay, now this is when I dove into a little bit. 1937, Treasure Island pumping begins in San Francisco. So Treasure Island is man-made. I didn't realize that. It's 393 acres. And apparently it was only like 27 feet above the water level. So what they did was they dumped a bunch of rocks and made a perimeter. And then they filled the inside. They dredged the bay and filled the whole inside of this big round sort of thing they made with sand. And then they put like 4,000 tons of dirt on top of that and planted trees. So Treasure Island is a completely man-made island off of San Francisco. So there's an exit off the Bay Bridge to go to it. I've been to Treasure Island, but never realized that it was not real. So if you think about earthquakes, if there's an earthquake in San Francisco, Treasure Island will not fare well because it's not built on anything solid. It's sand. So it's just going to be like, and just that's it. Stuff's going to sink right into it. And it was built specifically for the an event they did in 1939. So it took them a couple of years to do this, but it didn't take them that long to do it. And it initially had like 12,000 parking spaces on it. It made a giant parking lot out of it. But yeah, so Treasure Island, not real. I mean, it exists, but it was a man-made island. I didn't realize that. Yep, 1951, An American in Paris is released with Gene Kelly and is the best picture of the year the following year, 1952. I don't know if I've seen American in Paris. Maybe. Old films, sometimes you just catch those. You watch like late night TV and you'll catch films. That's one of those films that I don't know if I've caught in that one. Don't know. 1952, fluoride is added to water in San Francisco. There was somewhere else the other night about fluoride when it was found and when it was started to add to water. I didn't put that into the list of things, but I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, that's when we start to poison ourselves with fluoride. Keeps our teeth from falling out, but I don't know. The Hockey Hall of Fame, 1959, the British Motor Company releases the Morris Mini Minor. The Mini. Basically, it's a 10-foot long car that holds 4 people. So the Mini, that's when it was released. I did a little more research on that. I was like, well, that's fun. But no, yeah. Crazy how small that car is. 10 feet's not very big. I mean, that's almost would fit inside my little space here. Because it's, 8 foot by 7. 1961, the Hockey Hall of Fame opens in Toronto. Now, the funny fact about the Hockey Hall of Fame, it was actually only a few months ago, that I gave the 101 jersey to the son of Jim Ballantyne. So Jim Ballantyne was a hockey player, played at the University of Michigan, and then he played for the Columbus Chill. He was also a DJ at the radio station doing the morning show with Brian Phillips at the time. Jimmy, was just a young kid dude. He would report from the road and everything. But Jim, he, by some harebrained scheme, the boss at the time, not me, said we should have you wear a 101 hockey jersey with 3 numbers on it. So we had them made. We had a home one and a away one made, a black one and a white one. And Jim wore it for the opening game. I posted the details about this with the Columbus Chill. Got his ass kicked and never did it again. But that did go down in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And the original jersey, there was 2 of them, the black one and the white one. I believe the white one, which was the home, went to the Hockey Hall of Fame as the only 3-digit jersey by a professional player because he was on a professional sports team. And then I gave his son the other one, the copy, the away one, the 101 jersey. So there's my connection to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I've not seen it there. I've not been to the Hockey Hall of Fame. But if you do go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, look for it. See if you can find it. Ask somebody about it. The 3-digit jersey 101 from the CD 101 days at the radio station in Columbus, Ohio. That's where that came from. There you go. Hockey Hall of Fame. 1967, the Beatles, Mick Jagger, Donovan, they all meet the Maharishi Mahi Yogi. And again, as I said that last night, the Beatles, when they did that, that's probably where Yoko Ono came into the picture, and that's when we lost the Beatles. According to some people. I don't know. I wasn't there. Who knows? But people didn't like Yoko Ono. Apparently, that's how that works. In 1968, on this day, Hey Jude, the single is released. It becomes an instant favorite, the song of the year for 1968, and the 10th biggest song on Billboard charts ever as of 2013. So, Hey Jude, don't be afraid. Pretty cool. Texas, 1973, Texas, the University of Texas becomes the first accredited university to offer a class in belly dancing. Texas. We'll be playing them Saturday with football. Lee Corso will be here for ESPN Game Day. It'll be the last time Lee Corso puts on a helmet to signify who he thinks is going to win. So will he put on hook 'em horns, or is he going to put on the Buckeyes? Brutus head. We'll see. But it'll be a momentous thing because it is Lee Corso's last ever game day here in Columbus. Noon game. So if you live around here, good luck with driving. It's going to be fun on Saturday. Can't wait. 1977, Ian Dury releases the song Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. You've heard that song if you're old or not. But yes, Ian Dury. So this one I dove into a little bit. So in 1985, the French government denies the bombing and the sinking of the Greenpeace ship, the Rainbow Warrior. They denied it. It was bombed and sank on July the 10th of that year. Now, it turns out that they actually did do it. The Auckland, New Zealand police caught a couple of French dudes. They pretty much busted them, admitted to it. There was a whole scandal about this, and it all was because the French were testing nuclear weapons out. That's where they would test their nuclear weapons, out near New Zealand. And they, like Fiji and Auckland and a bunch of other places, signed this Non-Proliferation Act about no more nukes being bombed out there. So in protest, so the French basically were like, screw Greenpeace, and they blew up the ship. It was pretty interesting time. I'm like, wow. I mean, this was planned and covert. They used government lipid mines to blow the ship up. Two guys were convicted. One person died. A photographer who was on the ship drowned. So it was kind of an international scandal and a bit of a mess for the French. Cheese-eating surrender monkeys that they are. And blew up Greenpeace. Who knew? But that's what they did. They blew it up. Now, this is another one. 1986. Robert Chambers is arrested as the preppy killer. Now, I remember this. Definitely. So Jennifer Levin was found dead, half naked in Central Park. And Chambers basically said that eventually he changed his story a bunch of times, and eventually he said that she was strangled during rough sex, that she got violent and it was self-defense. He tried to push her away and wound up choking her. He did not get away with this. He went to a lesser charge of manslaughter, and he got put in prison for 15 years. Now, he served all 15 years of that sentence because he basically was a shitbag in prison. So he did not get off any good time any time for good behavior. So he was released in 2003. Okay. So after 15 years, he was released in 2003. By 2005, less than 2 years later, he got busted with cocaine possession. And was convicted and spent 90 days in jail and an extra 10 days because, again, the judge thought he was a shitbag because he showed no remorse and there's a bunch of other stuff. So he spent 90 days in jail. Okay, this is this guy. In 2007, 2 years later, he gets busted again, this time with sale weight of cocaine with intent to distribute with his girlfriend and a whole bunch of other stuff. He resists arrest, assaults a cop, breaks a cop's nose or something. I mean, just boom, just goes for it. So again, he gets sentenced to 19 years in prison. And the one judge who was during the thing was like, I'm not surprised. He didn't have any remorse back then. He could have done something with the 20 years of his life, did nothing, blah, 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 blah. So he went to jail again for 15 of those 19 years, and he was released in 2023. After spending 30 years in prison, basically. So he's out. I couldn't find a lot of information on him, but he's on parole until 2028. So the preppy murder, Robert Chambers. Now, what gets crazy is in 1988, Sonic Youth wrote the song Eliminator Jr. about that trial, as well as Jenny Was a Friend of Mine by the Killers in 2004 is about Jennifer Levin. Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. So both those bands wrote about that. Subsequently, there was a movie. There's been books and all sorts of things that came out of that. A couple of SVU, Law and Order series about that, like 4 different ones that all were based on this monster in the park. So today is the anniversary of that Robert Chambers preppy killer. Now, we can go forward to deaths today on this date. Jennifer Levin, who was murdered by Robert Chambers in New York City. 1996, Seventh Heaven on Warner Brothers is released with Jennifer Beal. 2005, I can make so many jokes about this that I'll try and bite my tongue. 2005, Ray Charles Station, a U.S. post office in Los Angeles is named the Ray Charles Station, a post office. I couldn't go and find where it was or care to do it. I just was like, okay. Blind guy, post office, I'm going to leave it there. There was too many things that just seemed way too inappropriate that I was just not going to do. You can make your own jokes accordingly. 2006, David Gilmour and the Polish Philharmonic Orchestra played in Gdańsk Shipyard, Poland for 50,000 people. Gilmour was from Pink Floyd, if you remember. Rolling Stones, in 2007, end a 2-year, 147 show run, grossing $558 million, with their last performance being at the O2 in London, England. $558 million is not bad gross for a 2-year run. You know, that's what, $265 million a year for a couple of years? Not bad. I mean, they had expenses, but I mean, still, you didn't spend all that expenses, so definitely Mick and boys put a little bit of money in their pocket, I would think. 2014, Burger King buys Tim Hortons. We just talked about Tim Hortons yesterday. The whole, like, you know, I talked about Tim Hortons was a guy, a hockey player, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they bought it for $11.4 billion. I was like, what? Who knew Tim Hortons was that big? $11.4 billion. I was like, wait, is that incorrect? Like, yeah, I guess they have, you know, thousands and thousands in Canada. It's like the Dunkin' Donuts of Canada. I knew that, and there's plenty here, but Burger King owns it. Did not know that. I know lots of things are owned by other people, but Burger King owns Tim Hortons. Interesting, I would say. At least I think so. 2019, Johnson & Johnson is ordered in the first case of being sued as an opioid manufacturer for libel for deaths to the state of Oklahoma, $572 million. Ordered to pay $572 million to the state of Oklahoma for being the manufacturer of opioids causing countless deaths. Interesting. Well, I mean, if you remember, there was a time where you could go get, you know, bottles of this stuff. Be like, hey, I mean, when I had a surgery, they were like, well, here's, you know, like codeines. And it was like, here's a bottle of 100. Here's a thing for a refill for 100. And I'm like, really? Do I have to take, do I really need that many a day? Is this going to hurt that long? Of course it didn't. But, you know, it was very easy to become addicted to those very quickly. So thank you, Johnson & Johnson, for that one. And they're also a New Jersey company, I believe, is where they're founded. I knew people that worked for Johnson & Johnson for years. And then 2013, the longest alligator ever discovered was found in Mississippi. Okay? Longest alligator. 14.3 feet long, coming in at a weight of 802.5 pounds. 14.5 feet. That is a big ass alligator. I mean, anything 14.5 feet. I mean, if this room is, I mean, from there to 8, that's like 7. It's double the, I mean, that's big. And 800 pounds of anything is big. That's a meaty gator. I don't know if they caught it, killed it, ate it, if it's on somebody's, you know, mantle, if it's a shoe, a belt, a wallet, boots. Don't know. But that was the part I read. So there you go. Largest gator. Lots of birthdays. A few deaths. Birthday. 1845. Mary Ann Nichols. Absolutely no one of consequence. She was a prostitute. The only reason she's written is she was the first victim of Jack the Ripper. Because Jack the Ripper was real. He really was. It's not just a fairy tale. There was actually a dude who was Jack the Ripper who killed prostitutes. Shocking. Mary Ann Nichols was the first victim of Jack the Ripper. Guess what? She also shows up in the deaths today. Mary Ann Nichols died on this day in 1845. So it was her birthday and sorry. It's not her birthday. This is not the day she died. It's her birthday today. But she'll show up as the victim some point for being Jack the Ripper's first kill. This one I found to be interesting again. Fell into the rabbit hole in this one. Earl Durr Biggers. Real name. EARLDERR Biggers. Biggers. Earl Durr Biggers. He created the character of Charlie Chan. Okay. Now, Charlie Chan was based on a Hawaiian, he was a Hawaiian detective. This guy was from, ready for this one, Warren, Ohio, of all places. So he went to Hawaii. He met someone that was an actual Asian police detective, and he based it on that. Now, he wrote 6 novels, and there was over 50 movies made about Charlie Chan. I was like, what? It was crazy. You filmed this whole thing, and there was all this stuff about me, obviously because he was stereotyped, and there was this yellow fever they talked about, and all this other things about villainization of Chinese characters, and how this guy from Warren, Ohio, who moved out to California, like tried to stop that and all this other stuff. But it was very interesting. The whole thing about, Warren, Ohio was what the connection was. But yeah, Earl Durr Biggers. I was like, is that a real name? But he's the guy who created Charlie Chan. So if you ever, were interested in something like that, it's definitely an interesting read. Just hit Wikipedia and look for a little bit for Charlie Chan. And I was amazed at how many movies were made about that. 1906, Albert Sabin created the oral polio vaccine. Oral. So I know that have all sorts of, conflated ideas about vaccines, but that's injection. So if polio is making a comeback, why don't we just use oral polio vaccine? Just saying. Just make you think, because I was like, wait a second, if it's oral, then can't we just... Could be wrong. 1910 birthday, Mother Teresa. We talked about Mother Teresa the other day because she had gotten malaria. So that was, we don't want malaria with Mother Teresa. Now, see, look, I caught the timer today. See, it's counting down from 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on and say, hey, remember the guy in the van? So that's me. So make sure that you go and you watch and participate and comment and do all those things that you can do. That way, maybe I'll get picked up and do it again, or doing something else. I'm going to try and call the production company and be like, hey, you find a job for me yet? Damn it. 1918, Katherine Johnson. You might know the name. She was a mathematician. She worked for NASA, and the movie Hidden Figures was based on her. So basically it looks like, when going to read about her, that Hidden Figures, the movie, if you saw it, is fairly factual. She was a woman of color that was this mathematical genius that kind of was just shoved in the back corner, and no one paid attention to her until they started to get ready to actually, launch some rockets with humans on it. And she was like, I can do this. And, they had the computers deal with it. And she was like, I can do this. And basically pushed her way forward into history by being super smart and not taking any guff from anybody. Just like, back in the day, just, not, when it comes to, again, what's today? It is Women's Equality Day. There's the connection. She demanded the equality and then some. And so hats off to her, to Katherine Johnson, NASA mathematician, and basically the feature of Hidden Figures, for pushing her way forward and pushing the agenda to get her way and be noticed. 1921, Naomi Parker Fardley, Rosie the Riveter. That's what it was based on her. The photograph and the poster and everything was based on her. Again, Women's Equality Day, because Rosie the Riveter goes back to the war when they were hiring women to go work in factories because the men were out fighting the war and we needed to work the war effort, so women became factory workers. So again, I'm guessing, but that's, to me, has to be part of why it's today. If not, then I'm just incorrect. Jay Pritzky is the co-founder of Hyatt Hotels, born in 1922. He was also an architect, and there's the Pritzker Award. I didn't write it down, but the next person I saw was blah, 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 winner of the Pritzker Award. I'm like, there's got to be some weird algorithm that does that connects things like that. Because I was like, yeah, I just saw that. The weird algorithms, here's one of them. So yesterday we talked about Momofuku, the guy who created the first pre-made noodles, right? He's the guy that made pre-made noodles. Well, guess what? Today, when I opened up my refrigerator just a little while ago, this is in my fridge. Momofuku tamari. It's a soy sauce, gluten-free soy sauce. I was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, I just about Momofuku yesterday. I was like, wow. It's one of those things where, again, you look for the red VW bug and you'll see one. Well, because Momofuku would have just passed by me, would not have paid attention whatsoever to that name. Because I talked about it yesterday, it was sort of top of mind, and I found Momofuku. Then I researched a little bit. Momofuku is a brand started like 20 years ago, not by this guy, but it does soy sauces and noodles and a bunch of other things. It's like a $70 million company. But yeah, it was like, interesting. So Momofuku soy sauce. The guy who invented ramen noodles, the chicken ramen, was Momofuku. And I thought maybe that had some, like, was that like a surname or something? You know, like a lot of people are named John. And no, it's just, I guess that was the name. Just saying. I just found it interesting. 1949, Bob Cowsill of the band The Cowsills. They sung the song Hair. If you haven't heard it, just Google it. It's kind of funny. You've probably seen it. They played it enough in enough TV shows and movies that it probably isn't completely foreign, but it's kind of funny. It was one of those ones I listened to, and I was like, oh, interesting. 1960, born on this day, Keith Rainier. You probably don't know who he is, but he was that cult sex leader of NXIVM. Basically, just I fell down the rabbit hole and read that stuff, and he basically started. He had an interesting career, basically doing multi-level marketing, Ponzi schemes with Amway, and that's what NXIVM became. It was basically multi-level marketing, but as a sex cult, and he just blackmailed people. Toward the end. That's pretty much what he did. You know, he had this thing where it was DOS, D-O-S, and he would blackmail them and just multi-layer blackmail too. And it just got crazy. So he was convicted and he did go to jail, and he will be in jail forever. He was convicted of jail in 2020, and his sentence is for 120 years. And I guess the judge just basically threw the book at him because he had no remorse whatsoever, was still victim blaming. And even when he was in prison, he got caught trying to get some of his followers to try and coerce the judges, coerce the guards to get him to move, to get him better treatment. The whole thing is just wackadoodle. It really is. I don't understand cult worship personality, but yeah, this guy worked really hard at it for a really long time and figured out how to do it. But then just got greedy. But yes, Keith Rainier of NXIVM, sex cult, born on this day, and will die in prison. And someday we'll have that as well. Dan Vickery of Counting Crows, born on this day in 1966. Also 1966, Shirley Manson of Garbage. You know, that is one of those underrated bands. If you are looking for an interesting band, Shirley Manson from Garbage is a great band. Cherry Lips, Queer, Push It, Vow, Stupid Girl, Why Do I Love You, Bleed Like Me. I mean, the list goes on and on. So yeah, Shirley Manson of Garbage, birthday today. Really great band. Lots of great hits too. Saw her a few times. Have pictures with her when we gave away a wedding dress that Brian Phillips was wearing. Very silly. But yeah, great musical artist, Shirley Manson. Archer Young of No Doubt, born on this day. Melissa McCartney, actress Melissa McCartney, born on this day in 1970. Chris Pine, Star Trek. Don't Worry Baby, that movie. That was a interesting kind of cult movie. Born on this day. Macaulay Culkin, 1980, born on this day. Home Alone fame. whole screechy-faced Macaulay Culkin. In 1982, John Mulaney, comedian John Mulaney, star writer for Saturday Night Live for years, and then out on his own, doing his own thing. I thought some of the news recently for something I don't think was something good. I don't remember what it was, but I just saw his name and I'm like, oh, John Mulaney, what did you do now? Famous deaths on this day. This had nothing to do. I just found the name funny. His name was John Bunny, and he was a comedian. I guess if your name is Bunny, it probably should be. What up, Bunny? John Bunny, comedian. Didn't look anything more about where he was from or anything. Just was like, okay. 1930, we lost Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. He was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was Phantom of the Opera. Did a bunch of stuff. 1950, Ransom Eli Olds. Ransom Eli Olds was from Geneva, Ohio. His name, Olds, became the brand Oldsmobile. Flint, Michigan. We talked about Oldsmobile the other day, but I didn't realize it was this guy was from Ohio. Ransom Eli Olds. 1974, Charles Lindbergh. The Lindbergh baby kidnapping. First pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic. All sorts of controversy about good old Charles Lindbergh. 1980, Tex Avery, cartoonist. If you've watched cartoons that are older, you've definitely seen Tex Avery's cartoons. He always had like these dogs and like the dumb dog and stuff. So Tex Avery was definitely an interesting guy that I read a little bit about today, but didn't see enough. I was going to watch his Tex Avery montage, but it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm like, oh, that'll be another day when I've got lots of free time, because that's a long-ass time to watch cartoons. As I said, 1986, Jennifer Levin, murdered by the Preppy Killer in Central Park. 1986, Ted Knight from Mary Tyler Moore and Elihu Smales, Judge Elihu Smales from Caddyshack. I was like, his name was Elihu. I was like, wait, Elihusmail. So yeah, it's Elihu Smales. I didn't realize that was actually, because when the wife goes, Elihu? Elihu. I've never heard anybody's named Elihu Smales. I'm sure it is an acronym for something that someone was just screwing around. So we'd have to go find a word generator to find what that spells, but it must spell something. It's like, Mr. Mojo Risen, Jim Morrison. It's something. It has to be, right? I mean, 2000, Douglas Allen Woody from the Allman Brothers and Government Mule passed away. 2018, Neil Simon. He wrote The Odd Couple, Biloxi Blues. The Odd Couple movie was great, and the Odd Couple series was funny with Jack Klugman and Tony Randall. I always enjoyed watching that. I just thought it was really kind of it was that personality clash was just perfect for each other. The Odd Couple. Joe Ruby, who was the co-creator of Scooby-Doo, died in 2020. And then last but not least, in 2023, the Price is Right host for decades, Happy Gilmore, fan favorite, with Adam Sandler getting into a brawl on the golf course during a celebrity match, Mr. Bob Spay or Neuter Your Pets Barker. Who doesn't love Bob Barker? And don't forget, spay or neuter your pets. $1. $1. So I had a little time, so I did fall into that rabbit hole and dug through a couple things today. Don't forget, go watch those episodes. That way I can find again that Hilton Kardashian job, and I can go do something which involves travel and, I don't know, doing something besides laboring every day. Remember, consistency is better than, I forget what it was, something. So 87 days I've done this. 87 days. I'm famous or not yet. Not yet. Not there yet. Just saying. Just saying. But Sunday at noon, if you happen to be at 1036 South Front Street, you may be able to come to over and bring a flashlight. I would suggest bringing a flashlight. It's dark in some parts of the building. But yeah, there will be a sale of things starting Sunday. I will post that probably to the CD, whatever it is. There's no more website. It's gone. I stopped paying for it. But Facebook page, maybe, so people can come down and we'll see. I don't know. We'll just say, like I said, bring a flashlight if you're going to come because it's dark. Crap. What do you want me to do? It's all just such a mess. All of it. Everything. Everything. So I just find solace in this. This is now my complete, absolute, and total escape. I'd rather be traveling the world. So let's work on that together, okay? All right, I'm gonna go. I got work to do. I still need to go. I'm working on the Randsanity site. I screwed up PayPal so badly. How I can screw things up so badly so quickly. Inputting the wrong data, and now I'm just debating if I should just delete the whole thing and start over again. I'll tell you what, you can't win for losing some days. But that's the way it goes, and it's all right. You know, because you can only go up from the bottom. All right, get out of here, you crazy kids. Go have a great night. It's Tuesday, and I know that because it was garbage day. See, that's what I live my life now. There was green garbage cans out front today, and they got picked up, so it's Tuesday. That's how I know what day it is. By Wednesday or Thursday, I won't have a clue, but at least I know that because I had to move garbage cans. That's how that works. So have a great evening. Thank you, friends. Appreciate you. We'll do this all again tomorrow, but completely differently. What do we say? We say fade to black. We say fade to black. Oh, where's the end stream button? End stream now. Yes, now.